You want to move to another country. I got you. There is one thing that I can say I am an expert at, and that is moving from Canada to London, United Kingdom. It was a difficult process, but there are several ways that you can accomplish this yourself. And in this series on my channel, I am going to talk about what it's like being an expat in London as a Canadian and how you can do that yourself, some tips and tricks and things that you should know before you move, and also to get you set up once you arrive in the United Kingdom. There are a lot of things that people don't tell you, and when I moved here all by my little lonesome 4.5 years ago, I wish I had a manual. Because boy, is it difficult to get settled in another country, especially when you have no friends, no family, and no help whatsoever, and have to figure it all out by yourself. Yeah. But we did it. We're here for 4.5 years now, and I am very happy. One thing I can complain about though is the weather. Kind of wish I picked California. Anyways, I digress. No, but in all seriousness, moving from Canada to the United Kingdom has been crazy. There's actually a lot of culture shock that people don't know. So if you are on this journey yourself, interested in this journey, or interested in the things I talk about on my channel, which is lifestyle, travel, and relationships, then please give me a subscribe. It is a tiny little click of a button for you, but it helps me out loads, more than you know, and I so appreciate it. And if this video is interesting to you, I would love if you liked it and maybe shared it with somebody else who's curious about these topics. And of course, if you have any questions, please comment them in the comment box below, and I respond to every single comment, sometimes with a video if there is enough detail to be able to make a video for other people to learn about that topic. Let's get into it! In this video, I'm going to be going over the various different ways that you can move into London, focusing on the two that I used myself. So the first one is if you're under 30 years old when you live in Canada or Australia, and a few other countries as well too, but I'm only familiar with Canada. And I know for a fact that Australian can do it as well too, because they are Commonwealth. But we're gonna keep this strictly to Canadians because I don't want to say something that I'm not 100% sure about, but look into it. There is a work and travel visa. So if you are under 30 years old, you can move to the United Kingdom on a work and travel visa. This is what I did the first time because I wasn't sure if I wanted to actually live in the United Kingdom full time. I didn't know if I would like it there, because I also had, thanks to my grandparents, the opportunity to apply for an Ancestry Visa. So an Ancestry Visa, it gives you 5 years in the country before you can then apply to become a citizen and apply for your passport by taking the citizenship test. So we're almost there. I'm going to be able to do that at the end of next year. As I was under 30 years old when I applied for the work and travel visa, I thought, what a great opportunity to get to go to the United Kingdom, which, by the way, I had never been there before. And you can follow that entire series. It's called Start from the Beginning or Watch Me from the Beginning. And I'll link it up here. And you can watch that entire series playlist on my channel where I actually apply for the visa, move to the United Kingdom. You can follow my whole journey on there, and as I get to explore and see, as I wasn't sure, I had never been there before. I didn't know if I would like it. I didn't know if I would get homesick. I didn't know, you know, what it would be like. So I didn't want to take the risk of applying for my Ancestry Visa and then not being able to do that ever again. Because once you apply for your Ancestry Visa, that's it. You've got to move to the United Kingdom and you've got to live there for 5 years consecutively, staying in the United Kingdom for 9 months out of the year and only traveling outside for 90 days, 90-day period. So that's something to keep in mind if you do have the Ancestry Visa and you're thinking, oh, well, I'll just do that and I'll save myself some money. If you're under 30 and you're not entirely sure if you're gonna like it there, I highly recommend doing the work and travel visa because it gives you an opportunity to go there to work in the United Kingdom and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, then you've not wasted your Ancestry Visa, and you can always, you know, when you're 40 years old or 45 years old, go and do the Ancestry Visa. Or even when you're 31 years old and you're like, oh, I've changed my mind now, I want to do the Ancestry Visa. You still have that opportunity then. And the Ancestry Visa does cost more. The Work and travel visa wasn't cheap. So neither of them are cheap, but I do recommend doing the work and travel visa if you're under 30 years old. If you're over 30 years old and you have the opportunity to do an ancestry visa, that's fantastic. It's like, it's the coolest thing ever. After I applied for my own ancestry visa, so here's a little bit of the, I'll rewind, a little bit of the story. So I am 29 years old, and I think to myself, I went on a mission to Cambodia, and you can watch that on my playlist as well. There's a playlist in there about my mission to Cambodia, and I was there for 3 weeks. And that's the first time I had really like gone somewhere to travel and explore all by myself. But I wasn't by myself, I was with a church group. But it had got me like way out of my comfort zone, and I was really excited about it. Now I had traveled a lot before doing that Cambodia trip. Like I've been to Italy, I've been to, you know, Mexico, Cuba, Dominican, all over the United States, all across Canada, other places I can't think of right now, but I had been to a lot of places already before, but I had never been to somewhere like Cambodia. And I had never, and it just opened my eyes up a lot to wanting to explore the world in a bigger way. Like there was so much culture and history there, and it was just so incredible. And the times I had gone to Italy before, there was just so much history there, and it was so beautiful, and I fell in love with Italy. I wish I had an ancestry visa to move there. I would have moved there, trust me. Weather, check. Beaches, check. Sunshine, check. Italian food, check. The language, check. I would have loved it, and I did start learning Italian as well. But I digress. Once I got back from that trip, I was like, I need to do this. I need to apply for my work and travel visa. I need to go and just see what is out there. See if I like it, see if I can do it, you know, like become totally independent, because in my past I had a lot of kind of codependency problems, relationship difficulties, kind of toxic relationships, which is why I talk a lot on my channel about relationships and how you can heal from your past traumas and all of that kind of stuff, because I've written about it in my book as well. And I just kind of wanted to get out of my shell, explore. And I know so many people who are younger and who are older feel that feeling. Like I felt like I'd been living in Vancouver all my life. You know, Vancouver's a beautiful city, don't get me wrong. Every time I go back to visit, I'm like, why did I move away from here? It's so lovely, I love it here. But I remember why. It's because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin there anymore. Like I wanted more. I wanted to explore. I wanted to learn about who I was. You know, life is really long and it's an adventure, and you want to spend it doing stuff that you're passionate about and stuff that you love, and like seeing the world is just so important. So many people live kind of in a bubble, and I felt like I was kind of like in this bubble, and then when I would go and travel, I would be out of this bubble and I'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. So what I wanted to do was just go. So my original plan with the work and travel visa was to get the work and travel visa, land in the United Kingdom, and then go and travel. So I went and I traveled for 5 months by myself on a solo kind of backpacking adventure. I say backpacking because I tried hostels and they were horrific at almost 30 years old. I don't know what I was thinking. I hated it so much. There was like 3 that I went to, and then I was like, not doing that anymore. So I shelled out money on Airbnbs, and you can follow this whole journey in that watch from the beginning segment on my channel. And then I shelled out for Airbnbs instead, and I bought a rolling luggage because carrying a backpack is hard, heavy, and not convenient at all. And the more I traveled, the more stuff I accumulated, and the more I wanted to actually be comfortable, especially once I started staying in Airbnbs for like a month. I lived in Florence. I wanted to be able to be comfortable and have things that made me feel like I was at home. So my backpacking solo adventure turned into, you know, something totally different, but I digress. Go watch that on my playlist if you're interested. And so I went and traveled for 5 months. Then I went back to Canada and kind of like tidied up the rest of my life there. Like I sold my car, I, you know, did a few Netflix shows and did some work on in film and stuff like that. And then just kind of like saved up the rest of the money that I had, so that when I moved to the UK, because after my solo trip, I decided I was definitely going to move to the UK. I was going to move to London, and I was just going to give it my all. And so I tidied up my life, got some savings in my bank account, especially from selling my car. That was a huge chunk of change. When you're moving to a new country, you're going to want to have some savings, because London especially is very expensive. I'm not going to like under exaggerate the expense of it. It is really expensive to live here, like really expensive. My first apartment when I got here was £1,400 a month, which is like 33 grand, which is like 3 grand Canadian dollars, like really expensive. Plus you have to pay for a damage deposit, you have to pay for council tax, you have to pay for electricity, water, all the bills, Wi-Fi, God, train tickets, like everything, to food, everything adds up so much. It's so much. And I'm doing an entire series where I go into, you know, more things that you need to know about moving to London. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you will find out more about those videos as they come up on my channel. And I dive deeper into, you know, how to set up, how to move, how to get an apartment, if you're going to have roommates, how to get roommates, how to pick good roommates, what apps you should be using. All of that's coming up on my channel. So I did the work and travel visa, and once I landed in London, I spent the next 2 years living there. I got a job, which I'm going to talk about on my channel, how you can get a job, or how you can work from home if you want to do that as well too. And then I had to apply for the Ancestry Visa if I wanted to stay in the country. So I actually had to apply for the Ancestry Visa during the pandemic, which was quite stressful, and things were super delayed, and it was a horrendous nightmare. Thank God that is all over, because now you're able to do it and you won't have to go through as much stress as I had. It's normally fairly quick turnaround, but it is costly. So I'm gonna put some links in the description on how you can apply for the work and travel visa from the government website, and how you can apply for the UK Ancestry Visa on the government website as well. There are several videos already on my channel about steps that you have to go through, and I will be adding more videos and content for that as well. You will have to get your fingerprints taken, get a biometrics photo taken. You'll have to, you know, do like a criminal record check. You'll have to prove, you know, why you want to go there, what you're going to be doing there. Are you going to have work there? For the work and travel visa, you don't need to have proof that you have a job there yet, but it's good to have, like, you know, a plan. So that's important to set up as well too, because they will ask you about that. You'll need to have an address where they can send you stuff when you get there. That's really important to know as well too. So what I did was I had one person that was a cousin of one of my best friends in Canada who was living in the UK. So I asked her, can I use your address to get my documents shipped over there? Because once you arrive in the country, you have to actually go to pick up these documents from a post office that is nearby your address. So they'll ship it somewhere there, and you have to pick up those documents to confirm that you've landed in the country, and there are extra procedures to follow. So you'll need to get an address. You can use a hotel that you're staying at, a hostel that you're staying at, an Airbnb that you're staying at, as long as you ask the people that are owners of the Airbnb if it's okay to get mail sent there, or you can use a friend. I think you can also get it sent directly to the post office, but follow the link on the government website for more guidance on that specifics, because things change all the time, and I don't want to, you know, tell you some advice that may or may not be true at this stage. The other way that you can apply to live in the UK is through a work visa. Now this is more difficult, but I do have some friends that have done this, and that means that somebody who is your employer, or if you're a creative person like an author or a journalist or some self-employed person, you can actually apply and get a 5-year work visa to live in the United Kingdom as well. That's an entirely different process that I'm not going to dive into, but I will put a link in the description on how you can do that through the government website. For the Ancestry Visa, you're going to have to do a bunch of steps, like prove, you know, your lineage, your heritage, your grandparents' marriage certificate, their birth certificates, your mom's birth certificate, your dad's birth certificate, your parents' marriage certificate, all the proof that dates back your family history, as well as pay a massive chunk of money, and send in your passport so that you can get the ID, and do a new biometrics in some cases. But during the pandemic, I didn't have to do that. They just used my old photo, which was so bad. It's such a bad photo of me. Oh my God, I wish I got a new one. But you'll have to send in all that information. So that is it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Remember, it is a tiny click for you, and it helps me out so very much. And I will see you in the next video. Please put any questions that you have in the comments below, and I will be sure to include them in future videos and reply to everybody. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys later.